City game, something that Jay Vidovich and head coach Jace Brooks for the Dukes have tried to reignite this type of rivalry in the last few seasons. They love this matchup. It's a great thing for Pittsburgh soccer locally. It's a growing scene for sure as we're underway at Ambrose Urbanic Field.
Yeah, you love to see it. Lots of local talent on the field tonight. So that's exciting to see. Pitt all in white playing from right to left, and Duquesne Dukes in all red playing from left to right here tonight.
Duquesne has more local talent than Pitt. Pitt with a few guys, but more international flair for the Panthers. Duquesne with 6 different guys from Pittsburgh that could see action tonight. This ball centered up there for Feitosa. Guilherme Feitosa in the center of that formation. He was out for a stretch of 5 games in the middle of the year, number 10 in white at the top of the Pitt formation. But he has come back, David, and he's been resurgent in recent games.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to find the form that he had his freshman year, and Pitt's going to need him this year to be able to make an impact here at the business end of the season. Just 3 more games left in the regular season for Pitt and Duquesne, and the last non-conference matchup for both these teams here tonight.
Playing through the middle, go the Panthers. There's Felipe Mercado with the ball at his feet. He was out last game against Virginia after injuring his shoulder, sprained his AC joint a couple of games ago against Virginia Tech. He has decided to give it a go tonight. We'll see what happens with him. Mercado and Mirkovic play together in the middle of that Pitt formation, number 8 and number 21.
Yeah, good to see Mercado out there. I did think perhaps Michael Sullivan would start in that holding center midfield position, but Mercado has opted to give it a go, and it's going to be important for him to get some minutes under his belt before the matchup against the Duke Blue Devils this weekend for Pitt.
Here's our first look at Jaden Daw, number 33 in red at the top for the Dukes. Tries to center it up there. He's looking for Cameron Torito in the center, and the Dukes will maintain possession.
Daw definitely a bright prospect up top for the Dukes. He's really burst onto the scene this year. It is his 3rd year with the program, but he's really scored 5 goals in his first 5 games this season and really got off to a hot start. He's cooled off a bit since then, but he's definitely a handful for any defenders to deal with, and he'll be looking to get himself on the score sheet tonight.
Daw with 6 goals on the year. 6'5" frame, big target for the Dukes in the attack. Mentioned the number of starters out for the Panthers. Right away, a scuffle here on the near touchline. It's between Cameron Torito and Mateo Mayufo. Panthers without a number of starters, as we said. The right center back for them tonight is going to be Fabian Grau. He's taking the spot of Matisse Lefebvre, who burst onto the scene and earned himself a starting role. Grau played earlier in the year, David, but now he'll get another chance as Matisse Lefebvre is out with injury, and this has kind of been the story of the Panthers all year, guys stepping up and taking advantage of opportunities when injuries strike. Yeah,
Coach Vidovich talked about it with us today, just the fact that he has needed so many players on his squad to step up, and they've been inconsistent with their lineup. Was doing some homework before the game, and Pitt has not started the same lineup twice. This is the 13th game of the season, and they have yet to run the same lineup out there 2 games over the whole course of the season, let alone 2 in a row. Whereas, you know, last year you would pencil in the same starting 11 for Pitt almost every single night.
It's been an adjustment for sure, and obviously it's one of the deeper teams that Pitt has had, so they've been able to kind of plug and play, and we've been told multiple times by the coaching staff this year that they enjoy the fact that they can move guys around and everybody understands their role in the specific position and what their job is in that role. Nobody's really stuck to one area.
Yeah, Coach Vidovich was talking about the fact that adversity has faced them in every game, and adversity has had a way to find them every single game. And so we'll see what adversity Duquesne is able to provide with Pitt, force upon them, and we'll see how Pitt is able to react to that adversity of this matchup. Duquesne's got some really good players themselves. Solid year this year, not quite as white hot as they were last year, but definitely making an impact. Duquesne's been a little bit more streaky. They were really hot in September and cooled off a bit in October. For Pitt, it's been a bit more of an up and down experience, you know, not really able to string wins together at any point during the season.
There's a ball up top here. Grau covers it nicely as Anthony DeFalco was giving chase for the Dukes. So in the attack for the Dukes up top, you have DeFalco playing on that right wing spot. Number 24 in red. Number 17 is Ask Eklund. He's on the left wing. We already talked about Jaden Daw at the top, number 33. Eklund and Daw combined for 14 goals between the two of them. 8 for Eklund, 6 for Daw. Eklund matching his goal total from all of last year in an upstart freshman season, where he was named to the A10 freshman team, all-rookie team.
And there you see Eklund was able to find the ball and win a corner for Duquesne. Eklund I really see as their attacking engine. He's got good size and strength, athleticism. Just like you saw there, he's not going to give up on any play, and sort of out of a half a chance, he's able to win his team a corner and a valuable set piece to try and get themselves started on the score sheet.
Eklund coming off a brace on Saturday against George Washington.
And when he scores goals in bunches. I know that of his 8 goals, I think that they've almost all come in multiple efforts. So I think he had a hat-trick in one game and has scored a couple in a couple other games. So when he does find the net, he tends to find the net in bunches.
DeFalco ready to take the first corner of the evening. Into the box for Daw, loose, and there's Cabral Carter. So looking for the big target, 6'5" frame of Jaden Daw. Decent chance for the Dukes, but Carter cleans it up.
And I think it's going to be important for Pitt to have Grau in the back line tonight, because he is going to give him a bit more size and maybe help him match up against Daw. Daw definitely going to be a handful. Pitt's back line a little bit on the smaller side. They don't have the huge lads that they've had in the past at different points in time.
Pitt with much of the possession here through the first 7+ minutes of this match.
And that's certainly their game plan, is week in, week out, control the ball, possess the ball, look for opportunities to penetrate and break down the opposition. Obviously looking to have positive actions in the opponent's half of the field.
Nice ball from Feitosin and Mirkovic. Pitt combining nicely. There's Joao Souza, who got the start at right wing tonight. Gets it back in the box here. Looks to do something with it. It goes over the end line, I believe.
Going to be a goal kick, but that was some really nice link-up play there by Pitt. As you mentioned, Kevin, they were able to sort of build in a really positive manner, find feet in space. Both these teams are going to be looking to find the space on the field tonight and exploit it to their advantage.
Like Luis Samkow, number 17 in white at the top, came up a little gimpy there after that play. Looking wide here for McIntyre on the left wing. And a nice stop in the center.
Grant McIntosh with a nice tackle for Duquesne there at the back. Part of their 3 center-back look.
Good ball once again for McIntyre. Looking for Samkow. Comes out the other side. Kasha gets rid of it.
Good matchup between 2 different formations tonight as well. Pitt in their standard 4-3-3. Duquesne adopting a sort of 5-4-1, a 5-box-1, as Coach Brooks described it. Likes to use those wing backs, see if they can get up the field and give them some width. And they'll be looking to control the midfield by forcing Pitt outside and looking to get forward and break lines when they have the opportunity to counter.
Pitt was looking for Souza on a run, but Zoltan Nagy comes up and takes care of it. Nagy between the posts this season for Chase Brooks and the Dukes. The first year they are without Dominic Nishimbin, who was a star for the Dukes for a number of years, but Nagy came in and treated the job like it was his own, and he hasn't looked back since. He started every single game and has brought the Dukes to a 6-5-2 record.
Yeah, Nagy's been really impressive. Transfer from Baldwin Wallace, originally out of Lakewood, Ohio. That's significant to me because the first time I ever saw Oasis was in Lakewood, Ohio, Kevin, at the Lakewood Civic Auditorium. So brings back memories just hearing the name of that town.
A monumental core memory for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's Pitt on a run into the box. McIntyre from Sam Cow, leaving it for Mayufo. Batted away. And I believe that, yes, it will be a corner kick for the Panthers.
Pitt starting to generate some good action in the Duquesne half, starting to ask more questions of the Dukes at the back, testing out their defensive lineup, seeing if they can break their lines down.
As usual, Filip Mirkovic will line up to take it. Mirkovic 5th in the country in assists with 8 on the year. Broke a Pitt school record a couple of games ago. Knocked out there by Ashton Gell.
Yeah, Pitt has had quite a few games where they've been able to use set pieces to their advantage to be able to knock the door down of their opponent. Wake Forest game in particular, Jackson Gilman had a big goal. Virginia Tech just the week before last, it was Gilman again scoring off a corner. I remember Eben McIntyre scoring a goal off a corner this season, so they have had some success off those corner set pieces.
Up top for Souza, he was onside, and another corner earned here for Pitt.
If you're Duquesne, you're not going to want to give away too many of these opportunities to the Panthers. They will test them at the back. Watching Duquesne's most recent game, they did concede early as the result of a corner in the opening few minutes against George Washington.
Comes short for Mercado. Mirkovic brings it to the top now for Guilherme Feitosa. He lines up a shot, and that's deflected in the middle of the box. Here comes another corner for Pitt.
Yeah, and you saw the variation off the corner play there. Mirkovic going short on that occasion, so we'll see if they have another look up their sleeve on this occasion.
This line into the box, over the crossbar here. I believe that was Fabian Grau getting on top of that one.
Yeah, the Growler getting in on the action early. You like to see it. Coach Brooks was talking to us about the importance of the first 15 minutes in this game, making sure that they can hang with Pitt for as long as possible, grow in confidence as the game wears on. And obviously for Duquesne, the longer they're able to keep Pitt off the board, the more they will grow in confidence, the more they will absorb pressure and seek opportunities on the counter and gain more footing in the game themselves.
Chase Brooks now in his 11th year on the Bluff with Duquesne. Took a while for him to get this program kind of to the place where it is now, but so much success in the last couple of years here. Duquesne's best 2-year win total from 2021 into 22 since 2005 and 2006. So about 16 years between successful runs for the Duquesne Dukes. Chase Brooks talked to us a lot about his culture. This being one of the deepest teams he's had, brought a lot of guys back, excuse me. 8 out of the 11 starters from a year ago, and talked about that continuity really helping them get into form at the midway point of this season.
Duquesne had a really strong year last year, 11-4-4. They got themselves ranked for the first time since 2005, so that was a significant season for the Dukes, and I think that it's a testament to the character and the skill of Coach Brooks and his staff that they've been able to really put this Duquesne program back on such solid footing to be competing for A10 championships, and they're bullish about getting into the A10 tournament and taking a run at that opportunity to win that.
Got into the title game 2 years ago against St. Louis and fell, so runner-up in the conference last year, made it to the semis before losing. Similar hopes and dreams this year as well. Looks like Gilman took down Jaden Daw here. And there's going to be a card on Gilman.
Yeah, Gilman bringing him down. Clear foul, very calculated. I think members of the Duquesne contingent of the crowd was hoping that that was going to be a red card from the referee, but it wasn't a clear goal scoring opportunity. It wasn't a professional foul type situation. Tactical foul by Gilman and a smart one. Dahl was in behind him, and I think that that was probably best decision Gilman could have made.
Gilman does have to be careful now, of course. Doesn't want to pick up another yellow and have to miss Saturday's game against Duke. A lot of this game to go. We enter the 16th minute here at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Falco's service cleared. And that shot on target there from Da, excuse me, and Cabral Carter there.
Decent effort on target there by Da, as you mentioned, and in the effort of winning the free kick for his team, I think that you saw part of Duquesne's game plan to beat Pitt tonight, get themselves on the score sheet, get in behind the Pitt defenders, use their speed and athleticism up top. And so I think if you're Dukes, you're encouraged by some of the play that you've had here in this opening period of the game.
Field is flipped. Back to Grau.
Coach Brooks talking about to us the fact that they were going to try to force Pitt to the outside, not give them the central midfield and allow them to play in their half of the field. Duquesne will be happy to give Pitt the ball in this situation in their own half and then try to press them as hard as possible in these moments when they break through.
Mirkovic on a run, chipping this to the other side of the box. McIntyre heading it now into the center again. McIntyre coming back at it, and there's Nagy. Kind of volleyball ping-ponging around in the box before Nagy picked it up.
Yeah, definitely a bit of pinball going on there in the Duquesne box, and they did well to come up with it in the end because that's a type of broken opportunity that could have ended up in the back of their net.
Eklund pushing it wide.
Duquesne's first real foray down that left-hand side. Kasha taking a run at Raphael Silly, looking to win that 1v1 duel. He's not able to get the service in, and it's a goal kick for Pitt. They'll be happy to play out of the back and see if they can pick Duquesne apart this time around.
Raphael Silly and Souza working together on the right. Now back over to Mirkovic. Feitosa, good ball here for Joao Souza. Centered up, nobody home. Now Mayufo.
Duquesne definitely doing a good job of getting numbers back. You see there they had 9 red shirts back in the box, trying to break up those passing lanes of the Panthers and not let them play through them. They're definitely going to need to absorb a fair amount of pressure tonight, but the more they're able to do so, the more they're able to bend but not break, the more they'll frustrate Pitt. And Duquesne will have opportunities in this game, as we've seen, and they'll be happy to allow Pitt to have the greater of the possession and trade that in order to get some of those goal-scoring opportunities that can get them on the board. Coach Vidovic talked about the fact that this is the coaching staff's World Cup tonight. It's a major derby match for them, and they're definitely looking to make sure that they're on the right side of having a 500 record and improve their NCAA tournament resume as much as possible. Every opportunity out there on the pitch is an opportunity to grow as a team and grow your resume at this point of the season. At this point, I'd say Pitt's firmly going to be on the bubble, so they're going to be looking for some big wins down the stretch to punch their ticket into the NCAA tournament.
course, we talked earlier, David, about the fact that at this point last year, Pitt was kind of sitting in the same position, and of course they turned it on at the end of the year. There was a decent portion of last year where they were trying to find their footing. I'd say you describe this in a similar way. They might have more injuries this year than they did last year, but they found a way last year to still fight their way into a deep postseason run. So anything could happen, but you are sitting right now in a position where, you know, 7th in the ACC is kind of on the bubble in terms of an at-large bid if you're not able to pick up some big wins down the stretch.
Absolutely. And Pitt sitting at 5-4-3 right now. They were 6-3-3 at this point last season. Played Duquesne on this exact same date last year, the 17th of October, and got a big result that night, winning 5-2.
Maufo wide here for McIntyre. On target, diving is Nagy to his left. Big save from Nagy.
Zoltan showing up. I always say you want to test the goalkeeper, and that's Pitt's first real test of Nagy.
Da with a little hip check of Gilman there, maybe getting him back for the earlier card. Possession back to the Panthers here.
Yeah, Da's going to be physical. He's going to win you some free kicks up there. He's going to cost you some free kicks back there. So that's part and parcel of his game. Challenging defenders, putting them under pressure.
It's a fun battle between Da and Gilman already here in the early stages of this game. Da probably thinking next time you see me, things won't be the same.
And Gilman will relish that challenge as well. So it's nice to see all these players up for this contest tonight. There's the birthday boy on the ball, Filip Mirkovic.
There you go.
His coach talked about him as the babyface assassin today, saying he looked about 17 years old. But Mirkovic is definitely a man in this college game. He's really been able to excel for the Panthers. Already the program record holder in assists with 27. Set that record against Virginia Tech. He's just going to keep adding to those numbers throughout the course of this season.
Record that had stood for almost 30 years, dating back to 1994. Second most assists by active players in all of Division I soccer, Filip Mirkovic, the senior.
Yeah, really an impressive body of work for him. No goals yet this season, though, so don't be surprised if he gets himself on the score sheet tonight. That's one of my predictions for this game, is the birthday boy getting himself on the score sheet. So I'm not going as far as to predict an outcome of this game, but I do think Mirkovic has a goal in him tonight. So
some might call him hard to handle, so that makes sense.
He is hard to handle.
He is. I think we should, before this game gets too deep here, we should probably give a shout out to Louis and Mary Spina tonight. Louis, the Pitt SID, not with us for the evening because he and his wife Mary expecting a baby tonight. At some point tonight, tomorrow, who knows at this point.
Yep, and that's number 2 for him, so life will never be the same. I'll say it to anyone that will listen. Having 1 kid's pretty easy. Having 2, big time trouble, so think about that.
I think Louis might have agreed with that sentiment today, yeah?
The second one really did me in, I've got to admit.
I can't relate, personally. So I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah. Start running in all different directions. Well, 1 you've got under control, and then 2 just throws a spanner in the works.
That's when you just keep on trucking on.
That's right. That's right. Might as well have as many as you can at that point.
Play settling once again at the midfield stripe.
And now we're about halfway through the first half, and Duquesne looks very settled. Both these teams look settled. Fairly balanced matchup. I think you can see how it's going to go. Pitt possessing the ball, having some opportunities. Duquesne willing to play that game with them, concede some possession, but work to break them down and press when they get closer to the Panthers, to the Duke's goal, sorry.
Foul in the midfield. Souza taken down. So free kick coming here for Pitt.
And I think the onus is really on Pitt as the home team, as the ACC team, as the team that really needs to win to fight their way through that NCAA bubble. I think that, you know, they've got to ask questions of Duquesne tonight. Last game we were here was a 3-1 win against Virginia Tech, but they were losing for much of that game.
Mirkovic into the box. There's Nagy looking for Samkow on the back end of that service.
So I think you are looking for the Panthers to stamp their authority on this fixture.
Big run for DeFalco. Great tackle there by Rafael Silly.
Superb defensive play there, getting back and making the tackle. Duquesne wins the corner. Anthony DeFalco on the receiving end of that, but he'll be happy to take the corner and help his team maintain possession in the Panthers' half, have a spell of pressure themselves, and ask some questions of the Panthers at the back.
Anthony DeFalco lining up a corner here. A couple of assists this year. Looking for Da once again at the back post. He settles with Eklund.
Yeah, no surprise Da is the target on those corners. Definitely a size mismatch going up against members of the Pitt back line.
That was Kasha that cleaned it up on the back end there for a moment. My mistake there. Here's Nagy trying to push it forward. Just a little back flick in the center. It's by Torito. The Dukes maintain possession here.
See Da playing right off the shoulder of Gilman there. He's offside on this occasion, but clearly Duquesne looking at that as a point of penetration for them. Eklund was up in support. You got Anthony DeFalco coming up right behind as well, so good opportunity to build there by the Dukes. Between Da and Eklund, they're responsible for 14 of Duquesne's 19 goals this season. So as those two go, that really determines a lot in terms of Duquesne getting on the score sheet and getting a result.
Duquesne has never beaten Pitt in 12 tries. Panthers 10-0-2 all time in the city game. Nice job by Gilman to collect this.
Yeah, and he was under a lot of pressure there. You could really see Da bearing down on him, using his presence to get into the back of him a little bit and force him to play a good ball out. Good physical play.
Feitosa contact there with V. Angel. No call. And Nagy plays it forward. High boot there for Eklund. He's going to get a card right away.
Straight in the book. Quick on the trigger. Referee sending a message there. Doesn't want any dangerous play in this fixture.
Amin Hadzik, the referee, in the center of the pitch tonight.
Duquesne sitting back in that 5-box-1 formation. They're able to sink back into a 5-4-1 when under heavy pressure. Da as the target up top allows them someone to shoot for, to work their way out of the back.
Duquesne 1-8-1 all-time against ranked opponents. Pitt almost falling out of the rankings this week. Just came out a few hours ago. They were number 11 heading into last weekend. With the loss down in Charlottesville, dropped down to number 23.
Been a lot bouncing around with the rankings this year. I will say, you mentioned Duquesne 1-8-1 versus ranked teams all time. When these two teams played last season, at this point in time, it was Duquesne that was the ranked team, coming in at number 25, and Pitt was unranked. Pitt got the 5-2 win that night. Duquesne's only win against a ranked side, 2018 against Rhode Island. They beat them 3-1.
V. Angel angry at himself. Thought he had Da up the sideline, immediately put his hands on his face, and he missed that service. Yeah, David, I feel like you don't have to look any further in terms of the last couple of years that Duquesne has had their success going deep into A-10 tournaments and being a formidable side. Then you look down their roster this year and you see that they have transfers from Indiana, Akron, Virginia, major programs around the country that now players are looking at Duquesne as a possible destination for them that can turn their careers into something. And I think that's how you can measure kind of some of these mid-major programs.
Yeah, Duquesne's definitely on the scene.
Here's a ball in for Pitt.
They're excited about this matchup. They want to see how they match up against a side like the Panthers. Duquesne has aspirations of their own, win that A-10 title, get themselves into the NCAA tournament. I think it demonstrates, as you mentioned, the growth of the Duquesne program. Just as this Pitt program has reemerged, become a national power, Duquesne has rebuilt themselves, become much more relevant within the national scene and on the A-10 scene. They were picked to finish 5th in the A-10 this season.
For the first time, Nate Dragicic enters the match. His 14th game of the year. Pittsburgh area native, West Allegheny High School. Dragicic is a guy that bleeds Duquesne red and blue. Been a mainstay of this program for the last 4 years.
Yeah, lots of Pittsburgh guys on the field for the Dukes.
Dragicic replacing DeFalco in the formation.
Well, that's something I want to point out about this Duquesne team as well, is the depth, as you mentioned, but they have almost like-for-like talent that will come on throughout this game at almost every attacking position. And there's a lot of talent sitting on that bench. You mentioned Dragicic coming in and replacing DeFalco, but also we still haven't seen Maxi Hopfer, one of their best players over the last few years, who's struggled with injuries this year. They got another local product, Tate Money, transferred in, plays an attacking role for him when he comes on, and so you're definitely going to see some changes throughout this game, and both these teams displaying their talents in terms of the depth. Seeing what guys are able to do on this stage.
Chase Brooks told us he thinks that this team can go 18 or 19 players deep and he can feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, they've definitely got some players, and as I mentioned, you know, a lot of them like-for-like changes, or the types of players that can impact a game by doing something a bit different maybe than the player that you are replacing. And so they'll give Pitt some good looks tonight, and Pitt will have to have their ears pinned back and be paying a lot of attention to make sure that they've got everyone matched up and that they don't get become the victims of someone looking to become a star for the Dukes tonight.
Ball sent forward by Grau.
Both these coaches, too, are very resolute in their principles, in their culture. They're confident that no matter which members of their playing staff are on the field, they're going to play in the same manner, have the same approach, understand what they're trying to accomplish as a team, as a group. And that's a testament to the coaching.
Kasha, and he wins a free kick. Sousa's going to get a card out of this.
And it looks like Eklund's lining up to take it, and you can guarantee that Da's going to be the target on the back end.
Eklund himself with 8 goals, leading the team top 25 in the nation. Coming off a brace on Saturday against George Washington. Every other free kick and set piece tonight has targeted Jaden Da on the back post. We'll see where this one goes. Jaden Da with 6 goals this year after last season having none. Eklund, the captain, with service here. And it hits the side of the net. Had Carter diving for it near post. So Eklund just went for it.
Yeah, and there was a few members of the crowd on this side that thought that that was in. They saw the net ripple. But it was on the wrong side, and the ripple was for naught. Still 0-0 on the board.
That's when you just hold your breath. You got to wait for it. Wait for the reactions.
Well, both these teams are going to throw stones tonight. So there's going to be opportunities for goals. In talking to the Duquesne coaching staff about Eklund, they talked about how the fact that they encouraged him to, challenged him, should I say, to improve on last season's campaign. Had a number of goals last season as well, but a lot of them were from dead ball situations. He's scored a lot more from open play this season.
McIntyre, my UFO, that one headed out.
I think that was Sam Bennett headed that one away, but Souza was right behind him to be able to head it in if he hadn't have made that clearance.
Bennett, the Indiana transfer, redshirted last year. Spinning is Feitosa trying to keep possession, and it settles with Mirkovic, who switches sides here to Rafael Silly. Now Souza, tackled by Bennett, and a free kick won.
Yeah, he's going to go in the book for that one, I would think. Yep. Physical challenge. Panthers don't like it. Duquesne trying to stand strong. They've had a really firm red wall back there. But giving the Panthers a free kick in that position, it's not something you're going to want to be doing a whole lot of.
It's our fourth card handed out tonight, 2 on each side.
Neither one of the coaches is going to want this game to be turning into a hack fest either. We have seen a lot of cards, but it's tough for a referee to manage a game by handing out cards. You tend to sort of dig yourself a hole in that situation sometimes, so hopefully the players can show restraint and the referee can manage the game, enforce the laws of the game without having to go to his book more times. Eben McIntyre, a big aerial threat for the Panthers. He's a big boy as well.
Service in. This one comes out the other side.
It was Feitosa's head trying to glance it into the net. He wasn't able to pull it off.
Lined in by Mercado, and there's Da to get rid of it. And Da, look at Da, pressing high, comes all the way from the back line. Look at him.
Yeah, it's great energy. That's the type of stuff that can help force your opponent back. And you see, based on his effort and his work right there, they have been able to force the Panthers all the way back and kind of break up their opportunity to continue that attack in play. Now Pitt will have to formulate a new sequence. Feel like they're attacking more down this left-hand side. Maiufu on the ball right now. They've connected a few times through McIntyre on that left wing. McIntyre, the local lad, we've talked about him before, out of Charleroi High School. 167 career goals in high school. 47 assists, good for 381 points. How's that for a high school career?
I was going to ask, is that good?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him at a like a showcase when he was a freshman. I was ready to try and get him up to La Roche, but obviously that wasn't gonna work out. But could have been a program changer for us. Guess Pitt made him a better offer.
Slightly. Nothing against you, but playing for Jay Vidovic, you know, slightly different.
Ref having a word with Da there. We'll see if, yeah, he's able to manage that. No card given. So the referee earning his paycheck tonight. He's going to have a lot of work to do to manage this one effectively. One of the biggest things about these non-conference games, you want no injuries and no red cards. So, you know, it's going to be massive for both these teams to get out of it unscathed. And for an intense local rivalry like this one, that's a tough ask. As you mentioned, just a couple miles between these two schools.
Already with 5 yellow cards handed out tonight. Here's McIntyre right on cue. Feitosa.
Pitt looking to build up, but it just gives Duquesne an opportunity to get more red shirts behind the ball.
Pitt will settle in once again. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Kevin Wheeler and the former college head coach David Day with you tonight at Ambrose Urbanic Field for the City game. Duquesne has never beaten the Panthers in this matchup. Had 12 tries at it.
Local bragging rights on the line.
And a lot of Pittsburgh pride on the Duquesne side with a number of their players coming locally. This ball loose here for Nagy, and he boots it to midfield. Nice spin by Da. See if he can win possession. He can.
We joked today about this being the Anthony Harding Bowl. Anthony Harding being, as far as I know, the only player to appear on both sides of the City game. The former Pitt Panther transferred to Duquesne and played for the Dukes last season in this fixture. Coach Vidovic got a little chuckle out of that one, but...
One might call him the friend of the devil. Hopping side to side.
Helicopter going over top. You know it's not a Pitt soccer game without a helicopter flying over.
You need at least one.
That's right. We'll probably have a few more tonight.
Beautiful, crisp night up here on the hill at the University of Pittsburgh. This is the type of the weather that makes you feel like the postseason is near.
Fall has definitely arrived. You know, it wouldn't surprise me to get some rain and snow up here tonight. A lot of gray skies today. It was definitely Pittsburgh weather and not a more fine weather day for this fixture. Some changes for Duquesne. Tate Money coming on up top for Da.
Plevin heading off. Jaden Da heading off.
Tom Zabari, number 6, coming on in the middle for Duquesne as well. There you see him challenging for that ball with Merkovich.
Massimo Morania for Pitt as well, coming on in place of Samkow.
Good opportunity for everyone participating in this one tonight. Good, meaningful matchup on both sides of the ball. Pitt coming off that Virginia loss, definitely looking to get back in the win column. Duquesne seeing if they can build off the momentum of the win against GW at the weekend. See if they can get their first program win against Panthers tonight. And they've accounted themselves very well in this first half. Just 4 minutes to halftime. They'll be thrilled to go in at 0-0. While Pitt's had tons of possession, they haven't been able to create a whole lot of real clear goal-scoring opportunities. Neither team really able to break through, and that'll be the challenge for each coach at halftime. Make the adjustments to help your side find the answers to be able to unlock their opponent.
Under 3 minutes to go in the first. Scoreless here. A couple of decent chances, David, but nothing really clean as far as looks at the net tonight on either side.
Yeah, I think it was always going to be a cagey affair. We've seen with Pitt this year, they haven't really had the type of explosive offense that they have in years past. They've had to work harder for their goals.
Pitt's still one of the better scoring teams in the country. Just over 2 goals a game on average this year.
And typically they do get into it when they're coming off a loss as well. So you'll definitely be looking for a reaction. And there's another Panthers gone down right there. Looks like a head injury because the referee was calling for the trainer immediately. But I'd imagine Duquesne's definitely going to be happier with this first half. As we mentioned, Coach Brooks was talking about making sure that they could survive the first 15 minutes, making sure they don't go down early, looking to see if they could take advantage of time and space and seeing how they could overcome the adversity presented in this match.
You don't want to see anything like this. They're bringing a stretcher out. So it just might be a head injury. No additional looks at this tonight on our broadcast, so couldn't quite see what happened. And it's already an injury-laden squad for the Panthers. This is not what you want to see for them. Without a number of their starters, as we said off the top here, Matisse Lefebvre, the right center back, he's out tonight with an injury. Albert Thorson out, usually at the top of their formation in one of the wing positions or attacking forwards. Abdoulaye Touré, he's out tonight with an injury. He's had a few different ones this year. And Noah Hall, who kind of earned himself a starting position in the right back slot, took a knee injury in the Virginia Tech game, and he'll be out for a stretch of time as well.
Coach Vidovic talking about the fact that they don't need to manufacture any adversity. It's had a way of finding them all season long. We mentioned the inconsistencies of the lineup throughout the year. Some suspensions to deal with in addition to those injuries. Do see some movement down there, so it looks like he's going to be okay. But the medical staff taking precaution in these moments as they do. So he's sitting up now. Again, a good sign.
I believe it's Joao Souza. Just from looking at the huddle and trying to figure out who took the knock.
Yeah, he's up now. It's a good sign.
Up and walking, it's a great sign. Well-deserved hand from the crowd here at Ambrose Urbanic Field. So it is Joao Souza. He gets a couple of hugs from both sides. Chase Brooks coming out to say hello to Souza on his way to the bench. Souza's had an injury-laden season as well. Started the year with a sprained MCL, the Marshall transfer, and he'll head over there for more treatment. So we're about a couple minutes inside here from halftime.
Yeah, he'll have to get checked out, probably going in the proverbial blue tent.
So back underway now after a brief stoppage. Good to see Souza rise to his own feet and walk away from that. Coming on is Santiago Ferreira, number 28 in white, the center of the pitch.
He's a bright spark for sure. Really brings a lot of energy to that attacking centre midfield position. He's able to spell Feitosa.
Ball across the goal line, coming for a goal kick now for Nagy. Just over a minute to go.
Actually, I see Feitosa slid out to that wide right position to replace Souza.
Yeah.
And Ferreira playing attacking centre midfield. It's almost half-time. Definitely a stalemate of a first half. Not a ton of chances created. A few set pieces either end.
Just 2 shots on target for either side. Neither keeper has really been challenged. Carter had a diving try at the near post off of an Ask Eklund free kick, but that hit the side of the net, so not a save. And then Nagy had to dive to his left at one point to make a save. But outside of that, keepers have been having themselves a fairly easy night so far.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
There's Carter. He'll just lay on top of this one as we conclude the first half. David, thoughts for either side?
Everything to play for in the second half. I think it's been a cagey encounter the first 45. And you'll see these teams taking a few more chances in the second half. And I think really pushing to get the W. Be interesting to see if either team can open it up. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, almost a must-win game for Pitt in terms of solidifying their tournament resume. Pitt with one of the toughest schedules in the country.
The toughest.
They really test themselves against some of the best competition. They've played a number of ranked teams this year. But this is a battle for the city of Pittsburgh. Pride on the line. Duquesne looking for their first program win against the Panthers.
Pitt with a couple lineup changes, different from what their starting 11 was. Joao Souza took a knock at the end of the first half. He did not start here in the second half. Massimo Morenia is out there. Santiago Ferreira in the attacking center midfield position with Guilherme Feitosa split out right.
And the Panthers coaching staff will be looking for those two additions to create a spark and help get their team going. Neither team really able to assert their dominance. A real sort of lack of explosive play to this point. But we need something dynamic to be able to change the scoreline. Someone's got to be able to find the back of the net, whether that's an individual play or a team play. Pitt will need to be able to convert their possession into goal-scoring opportunities, something that at times they've struggled with this season. Duquesne definitely with a defensive approach, and you can't argue that, coming here on the road against a mighty foe in the Panthers.
Duquesne's played 5 games since September 30th, playing basically every 3 to 4 days. The Panthers, however, have had a couple weeks straight where they haven't had a midweek game. But they're the ones that are injury-laden and not Duquesne. So Pitt has only played 3 games since September 29th, Duquesne 5 since September 30th. So more games slapped into a smaller stretch of time.
Yeah, it's a long season for both these teams, and both of them have weathered a fair amount of injuries to this point in time, testing the limits of their squads. Both of these teams will be looking to find consistent form going into the business end of the season. Conference tournaments. We were talking at halftime, if the season were to end today, Pitt would be a number 7 seed in the ACC tournament and play UNC. For Duquesne, they would get in the A10 tournament as a number 7 seed, travel to number 2 St. Louis. Obviously, that's if the season were to end today, which it doesn't. So there's still more games for both these teams in conference play that'll determine the final seeding. But I did think it was interesting in the build-up to this game, really, to see where these teams are. I think both coaches would rather have a few more wins under their belt, but it's tough to win college soccer games.
This ball chipped forward for Jaden Daw, challenging Grau. This one comes out the backside here to Kasha. Kasha on Silly, now up top. Torito. Line toward the net, easy stop for Carter. It's off the foot of Ashton Gell.
Duquesne doing a nice job of finding some space there and playing into it, generating goal-scoring opportunities as a result. Had a couple looks at the goal, a couple sniffs, nothing really clean. But the race is on for that first goal.
Ferreira up top here for McIntyre on the left. Mirkovic Sends it to the right for Silly. Nice touch. Now Silly looking for service. Chips this into the box. Batted around, and Nagy comes up with it. A nice run by Morania, trying to get in front of Nagy.
Yeah, he was able to get onto it, but couldn't get a clear header on it. Kind of glanced, deflected it towards the goalie. Cabral Carter out there with a header. Not the first time I've seen him do that recently. Love to see that. Goalkeeper that can use his head.
You were mentioning the first goal and how important it is. It's maybe most important for Pitt in terms of tilting things in their favor. A team that's possession-driven, after all. They get up one, and they just kind of possess through the game for the most part. In the last 5 years, Pitt is 47-3-3 when they score first. Just 4-2 this year.
Yeah, and they did score first against Virginia last weekend, but came out on the losing end of that one. And so they have proven to be a little bit more vulnerable this season than in years past. But Pitt definitely likes the second half. They have a 13-5 edge on their opponents, scoring in the second half. And so you do see Pitt as a team that's able to make halftime adjustments and come out a little bit stronger, turn the screws on their opponent a little bit more, find that weakness or that pressure point that they want to exploit.
Miscommunication there between McIntyre and Mayufo on the run, so Nagy with a goal kick here. And that's maybe a microcosm of some of the pieces of this game, and maybe it's taken this long for the Pitt side to settle into things. How many times this year have Mayufo and McIntyre played on the same side of the pitch? How many minutes have they had together? It's an example of a little bit of a miscommunication right there.
Yeah, a little bit inconsistent, a little bit rushed, a little bit forced. Nothing quite clicking smoothly at this point in time for the Panthers.
There's Carter coming up. Daw was sniffing around the box.
Duquesne's going to keep working hard, trying to put the Panthers under pressure when they get into the Duquesne half. Continue to try to force them to the outsides, away from the middle of the park, away from their goal. Duquesne will continue to get numbers back, red shirts behind the ball. And for any team looking to beat Pitt, you want to be able to frustrate them. You want to be able to have strong communication along your back line, be well organized.
Ferreira dancing with it in the box. Now to Mercado. He lines up a shot, and it's blocked there by Torito. Mirkovic wins possession for the Panthers.
And we saw in Pitt's 3-1 win against Virginia Tech a couple weeks ago when Virginia Tech was frustrating them from a defensive standpoint. Pitt had to find some other ways to break them down. There was a set piece, but also they had to launch some more shots from outside the box, change a point of attack, try to incorporate some elements of surprise or quick counters themselves. But we know that Pitt will continue to probe, to find a way through, to ask questions of Duquesne at the back. Pitt's been so good over the years at home. Really tough to play here on their home turf. It's become such an intimidating soccer environment for any opponent, as much as the Dukes will be relishing this opportunity tonight. It's tough to make Pitt unsettled on their own home turf. 29-3-6 at home since 2020. That's third best in the nation behind Georgetown and New Hampshire.
There's Nagy off his line. Zoltan. Pittsburghers love Zoltan.
That's right. Shades of the 2013 Pittsburgh Pirates. That's doing right. The Z whenever they got a hit. I feel like the Zoltan's got a place in this city game.
Yeah. Hasn't been too tested quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, this game should be on AT&T Sports Pittsburgh, really.
What's that? Never heard of that before.
Strong tackle by Grau there, breaking up the Dukes play to get forward.
I thought Torito might have had a good run with Kasha, and he's going to try and connect with him here. Initially, just got too far underneath that ball. Now Kasha service into the box looking for Dot, and here come the Panthers trying to launch a counter now. Mirkovic will settle it.
Duquesne's looked lively in this second half in terms of trying to find space to operate off of. We've seen a bit more space for them out wide.
Service in, looking for Feitosa. There's Nagy. Zoltan makes another play.
Good hands by the keeper there, but Dukes have a man down.
It's Kasha. Jacob Kasha, the Australian. Started each of the last 4 games for the Dukes.
One of a couple Australians on the Duquesne team, him and Goodhue. Come a long, long way to the Steel City to play in this derby match.
You think they've ever had Raising Cane's before?
I don't know, but you know, I must admit, I had it for the first time the other day. On Sunday, I had Raising Cane's for the first time, so now I know what it is.
How timely. They're the presenting sponsor of this city game
I
tonight
heard.
at Ambrose Urbanic Field. They got a tent over there if you want to go get some.
I may have to investigate that, yes.
I don't know if they have any chicken, but they might have some coupons for you.
You know, the fries and chicken fingers at the concession stand are pretty good as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Looks like you're well-versed in the concession stand here.
A lot of it comes down to the sauces, though.
The sauces?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Cane's has a few special sauces,
I know,
right?
I know.
Yeah.
The place was packed as well. I couldn't believe it. One, I'd never heard of it, and then when I found it, it was full of people. So, definitely surprising. But, you know, that's how I know I'm reached old man status, is I learn about cool things from my kids.
Well, I mean, that's one thing. But I got to tell you that I didn't know that it was a thing until January of last year. So in the same calendar year, you and I learned about Raising Cane's.
Well, there you go.
So you're not that old after all. Or maybe I'm old.
And then, boom, by yesterday, they were sponsoring today's game. And I was thinking there's going to be a buffet in the press room of these chicken fingers.
Yeah, I wish. We're not so lucky, though.
I thought I saw Noah Hall down there, but I'm not sure. I didn't have my my face sheet with me.
Your face sheet?
Yeah.
Your headshot sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Down at the Cane's tent or the concession stand?
He was at Cane's on Sunday. I thought, anyway. Noah will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't look the same outside of his soccer uniform, so I wasn't quite sure.
So Kasha is up. He's ready to go. 56th minute at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Kevin Wheeler, David Day with you tonight. In the city game, still scoreless here.
All about the value of a goal. This game needs one. I feel like that'll kick some things off. Duquesne's going to be happy to absorb the pressure as the underdog in this one. The onus really is on Pitt to be able to find a way through. Certainly a can't-lose game for them as they look to build their tournament resume.
There has been a bit more quality in terms of build-up on both sides in this half.
Yeah, certainly more attacking intent.
Eklund playing it back for McIntosh. McIntosh, the Akron transfer, playing in that center back role for Chase Brooks and the Dukes. Dangerous ball in the box. There's McIntosh again.
Yeah, he's been virtually ever present for the Dukes. Over 1,100 minutes for them this season. He's the transfer from Akron. Come in and made a really big difference for them. Anchored their back line. Duquesne's been able to execute their game plan really effectively tonight. I think they've frustrated the Panthers, not giving them any real sniff of goal. Duquesne conceded really early against George Washington the other night, so they'll be happy that they got to halftime at 0s. They're right where they want to be.
Grau. It was a hard ball into Morania. It's batted around now. Now Mayufo with some space in front of him. Centers this thing up. Now touched. McIntyre. He's cut off beautifully right there by Bennett. Or maybe his V Angel. That's my mistake once again.
McIntyre and Feitosa connecting in the box, but it was a little bit too intricate. McIntyre wasn't able to get the shot off. Didn't really have the space to be able to get his foot behind it.
Christopher V Angel with the play. Cut him off back there. UAB transfer.
Yeah, he's another one that's been really solid back there. As you mentioned, another transfer. He's started all 43 of the college soccer games he's ever played in, so he's a reliable character.
Goal kick coming.
And you see there how Duquesne's been able to frustrate the Panthers all night, just getting bodies back behind the ball, breaking up the passing lines, forcing them to the outside.
Couple of subs coming on here. Luis Samkow coming on. Zahir Dyke as well. Morania will sit down. McIntyre will sit down for the Panthers.
Haven't seen much of Dyke, so I'll be interested to see what level of workload he's able to put in. Can he provide a spark down the left-hand side, break something open for the Panthers? Coaching staff looking for a different look. Certainly a spark.
Tom Sabari coming in for Duquesne. Dragicic is out there as well. Now Eklund with some room. Gets past Silly. Tries to shoot it himself, and that goes wide right.
Big curling shot by Eklund, but not close enough to the goal. Both these coaching staffs going to look to use their roster throughout this game, keep their sides fresh, use the depth of their squad. I was just thinking, Pitt hasn't played Michael Sullivan yet, but he's one asset that they have on the bench, may be able to make an impact in this game. We haven't really seen Pitt get the ball through Ferreira much. I'd like to see more of him being involved in the play. See if they can utilize his speed and skill.
This ball up for Silly. Fighting off Bennett. Eventually loses possession. Another goal kick coming. If Ferreira really played well against Denver, started against North Carolina, plays big for a small man, in the words of Jay Vidovich. Number 28 in white. He's made the most of his minutes, even though they've come sparingly.
Tate Money coming back on the field for Duquesne, playing center forward, replacing Dar. Money, the Butler product, transferred into Duquesne from Elizabethtown College. Good soccer stock in him. His dad's the coach at Butler High School, played at St. Francis, his dad Troy.
Zahir Dyke playing outside on the left for Pitt. That ball settles with him. He's challenged hard in the corner. The Angel sending it forward. Nice ball up to Eklund. Momentum lost for a moment, but Kasha looking to push. Feitosa challenging on the near touchline. Eklund wins possession. Quick restart, and it's blown dead. Guilherme Feitosa pleading his case. He wanted possession of that ball.
Ref makes him retake the throw, getting to the right spot where it went out, and now instead of a quick throw, Duquesne's going to have Sam Bennett take it, and Bennett's got a big throw. You know how I like a big thrower. Gets it quickly into the box. Eklund can't connect with the shot. But you think about this time last year, this same fixture was happening and Pitt won that game 7-0. So certainly not the same game here 1 year later. As we mentioned, Duquesne was 11-4-4 last year, so there wasn't too many teams that took them to the woodshed. But Pitt certainly did on that night. Tonight, much more resilient by Duquesne. Strong game plan from the back to the front. Pitt's been probing a whole lot, but hasn't really been able to break much loose. And we'll see what players are able to be difference makers tonight. If there's a goal in this game, will it be the birthday boy, Filip Mirkovic?
You would love for it to be. Prove yourself right. Your early prediction.
We'll see. Once in a while, I'm able to figure some stuff out when push comes to shove.
But, I mean, you said it. It's kind of the big word if. The longer we stretch into this game, it just does not look like anybody has a nose for the goal tonight, at least not to this point. Now, there's so much time left, and we know that with this Pitt team, at the very least, goals can come in flurries. And there's multiple guys on this Duquesne squad, obviously Da and Eklund, who can score in bunches as well. We'll see both of those guys play a factor in this one before this is said and done, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, and you think about how goals are scored. Well, there's, a few ways, but set pieces, mistakes, and moments of brilliance. And so, we've seen quite a few set pieces, but not too many moments of brilliance and not too many mistakes. And so it's been a pretty conservatively played game. As we mentioned, Pitt's happy to probe, Duquesne's happy to absorb pressure, and so that's what we've seen. And to what degree teams start going for it down the line, I think that at some point Pitt's going to want to go for it a bit more, get themselves on the score sheet, and when they choose to take a few more chances offensively, it's likely to open up holes that Duquesne can maybe exploit going the other way. So it's definitely a game of cat and mouse, but I can't figure out who's Tom and who's Jerry yet.
Who's going to stir some things up? Dyke dancing with it, finds some room, wins a corner.
Yeah, and you see a nice use of his speed just to be able to try to turn the corner, and starts to get past his man, and the defender makes a good play, but does concede the corner.
Jay Vidovic passing instruction on to Felipe Mercado as Mirkovic squares up a corner. Fourth corner of the night for Pitt. Back post, this ball, this one goes in. That's a Pitt goal. Back post.
Feitosa's celebrating it, so I'm sure he's taking the credit for it. Took a few touches on the way into the goal, coming from the corner. Was played back in from the far side by Grau. And I think Feitosa got the last touch just to turn it into the net from about 1 or 2 yards out.
They are giving the goal to Feitosa, his second of the year.
Second in his last 3 games as well. So Feitosa's someone that you're going to want to be finding the net at this point in the season. All-important first goal, as we talked about, but Pitt gets it. Now we'll see what reaction Duquesne has.
All started by Zahir Dyke winning the corner. Fabian Grau gets a credit for an assist on that, as well as Filip Mirkovic. So Filip Mirkovic now with 28 career assists, already most in Pitt history. Broke a record a few games ago, gets an assist on his birthday. Second most assists among active Division I players for Mirkovic. No surprise he makes something happen off a set piece. Guilherme Feitosa, we've said it in the last few games, hit the post twice in the Carolina game, a goal in the Virginia Tech game, and another goal tonight in the City game against Duquesne.
And that's something Pitt's really going to be looking for from him. He really had a breakout season as a freshman, scoring 5 goals, 6 assists, but he wasn't able to find anywhere close to that form. As a sophomore, he struggled with injuries throughout the last couple years, but he seems to be coming on strong at the right time of the season for Pitt right now. Scored that amazing backheel flick goal against Virginia Tech.
So that all-important first goal in the last 5 seasons for Pitt. When they score first, they're 47-3-3. It's even more important when they do that on their home field. Almost unbeatable here at Ambrose Urbanic Field. 3rd best win percentage in Division I since 2020. So a few substitutions and adjustments by the Panthers lead themselves to a goal off a set piece.
And we'll see if it leads to bunches of goals.
Look at Zahir Dyke fighting through. Dyke has looked pretty bright since coming on.
He's provided a spark, and that's what the coaching staff was looking for out of him. See also Michael Sullivan's come on for Feitosa. He's now playing down the right-hand side.
Sullivan had 90 minutes in the Virginia game. Had a steady incline in minutes since he took a red in the Syracuse game a few weeks ago. Had to miss a match.
Sullivan's been a tireless worker for the Panthers. He's done a lot of dirty work this season. Played in the holding centre midfield position that was owned by Jackson Walty for a number of years, and that's at times a thankless position, just sitting back there and trying to take the attacking centre midfield of the other team out of the game, absorb pressure, win the ball and distribute. Nice bit of footwork there by Moni to be able to keep the ball for Duquesne.
Jack Jennings, number 37 in red, has come on as well. Goodhue in there too. Duquesne will take a throw in deep in the corner.
There'll be Sam Bennett coming up with the big throw, so you know that'll be getting pumped into the box. Duquesne will be looking to get a flick and then a touch into the back of the net. That's where they'll miss not having Dar on the field.
Throw comes in near side.
There's
and
the
cleared
flick.
out.
Little bit of handbags going on there. They expect nothing less in a rivalry game. Bragging rights on the line. Pitt having just got their way into the lead. Duquesne are going to fight with everything they have to try to get themselves on the score sheet and get themselves something out of this now.
So the foul given to Duquesne. Carter will take it, and it's going to be a card on V. Angel.
Nothing really malicious in that. He was just going for the ball, but the defender cleared it away just a split second before he got to it.
6th yellow card of the night. 4 for Duquesne, 2 for Pitt, and this is the first of the second half, coming in the 70th minute.
And you can see Duquesne's going to not fade away in this. They're going to keep fighting. Be a test to their resolve, their depth.
And with Jaden Doss still eligible to re-enter, there is help on the way.
I keep referencing Duquesne's George Washington game, but they twice came from behind in that game. And so they're not deterred by falling behind. They're able to maintain their resolve and focus, stick to their game plan.
Ball up top, Zahir Dyke. He is onside. No, he's not. Zahir Dyke offside, but still testing V. Angel up that side since he's come on. His speed has actually proved to be pretty consequential in this one.
Making an impact off the bench. Certainly on a night that was required from his team. Pitt a little bit short-staffed coming into this one, and so I'm sure the coaches will appreciate his efforts, being able to change some of the momentum, put Duquesne on their heels a bit from a defensive standpoint.
Dyke's season high in minutes this year is 24. A few weeks ago against Denver, already up to 12 now.
Now the game's finally poised. We'll see if there's more goals in it. Obviously, critical time for both sides. Duquesne can't let the Panthers score a second. Flip side of that, Pitt does not want to give Duquesne any kind of avenue back into this game. No mistakes.
As we've mentioned, the result almost way more important for Pitt, given the RPI and where it sits. Pitt at number 22 in the RPI nationally, and Duquesne at 83. So with that in mind, if Duquesne was able to pull an upset, that would drop Pitt's RPI. It drops it regardless, but a loss would hurt even more for their case in an at-large bid if they can't pull off a couple of ACC wins, whether that's in the tournament or in the final two of the regular season against Duke, and then on the road against Notre Dame, who has basically run away with the Coastal Division in the ACC. Up to 16 points now for the Irish. 5 straight wins in conference for them.
Yeah, and Pitt's been much better at home this season, so you'd definitely look for them to have a better opportunity to get another win against Duke this Saturday, rather than perhaps on the road at Notre Dame the following week. The Panthers have not won away from home yet this year, 0-3-1. And so they're really going to be eyeballing the matchup against the Duke Blue Devils Saturday night as a way to really solidify their postseason hopes in the NCAA tournament and increase their seeding in the ACC tournament coming up.
Does help Pitt that they have played the toughest schedule in the country to this point.
And that's something that Coach Vidovic is really determined to do. One of the methods he uses to instill strength and character and development in his squad is playing the best teams in the country. He hides from no one. And I think you've seen the benefits from that the last few years, the development of this Pitt Panthers program. 3 straight Elite 8 performances, 2 runs to the College Cup in the last 3 years. So Pitt really knows how to handle their business at this time of year. They've proven it the last 4 or 5 years.
Mirkovic already with an assist tonight on the Feitosa goal just a few moments ago. Now plays it to Mercado, who's chipping it in here. Looked like he was looking for Mirkovic on a run, but this goes across the goal line for a goal kick.
That was the birthday special. They'd worked on that in the training ground. that was the one. Didn't come off for him.
You're trying to be an estimated profit with this. Will it into existence.
Well, I was really impressed with Mirkovic, the Virginia Tech game. I really thought that his role in that game helped turn the tide of that, and he helped claw Pitt back into it. He's got a nose for goal.
He is special. He can score from pretty much anywhere. It's amazing that we've gotten to this point in the year and he doesn't have a goal. He does have his 9th assist of the year now, though.
Well, Mirkovic does have 9 goals in his career, and so that, again, to your point, makes it a little bit more surprising and unusual that he hasn't found the net yet this year. 70 career games for the Panthers. He's started 66 of them. Found himself on the Mac Herman watch list to enter this season, and he's really been a prolific player for the Panthers through that central midfield role.
Michael Sullivan chipping this one in for Ferreira, and look at Nagy coming off his line. A great idea by Sullivan, though, to chip it in.
Nice little flick. Ferreira couldn't quite get to it. Nice look, though, and Nagy was definitely up for it.
Nagy in his big frame going up against Ferreira. Ferreira only 5'6", running around out there.
Nagy's been really important for Duquesne at the back. Number 7 in NCAA with 64 saves on the season. That's good enough to lead the A10. Really gobbles up a lot of balls that come towards him. And while Duquesne may have been uncertain about their goalkeeper position coming into the season, he came into camp and made it his own. Coach Brooks very impressed with his performance.
So Feitosa comes on for Ferreira here. See Jaden Daw coming back on for Duquesne, Jacob Kasha, excuse me, and Anthony DeFalco as well.
Roll of the dice with 15 minutes left.
DeFalco was very present in the early portion of this game, providing pretty good service in the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, DeFalco out of Franklin Regional. He started 11 games this season for Duquesne. Been very active down that right-hand side. He's got himself a couple of assists. He's still looking for his first goal of the season.
He was often looking for Jaden Daw. Daw with a couple of shots tonight.
Been impressed with what we've seen out of Daw so far. As advertised, strong physical presence, good touch to him. Definitely he's caused Gilman some problems playing off his shoulder. We know that he's been getting interest from the next level, and so that's something that, as he develops as a player, as he continues to push himself, he may have some opportunities down the road in this game, and he looks like the type of guy that is going to be able to grow into his body, grow into that frame, and potentially play in the professional ranks.
Chase Brooks told us that Jaden Daw has unreal talent. Trying to put it on display there to hook up with DeFalco, but it comes back to the midfield stripe for Kasha.
And Daw found his way to Duquesne from Washington and Jefferson. The Dukes have a few players that transferred in from Division III programs as well. Daw, Tate Money, the goalkeeper Nagy. So there's a lot of different paths to get to this point in time. You see someone like Grau, the older German, found his way to the Panthers D1 soccer. Everyone's got their own journey, their own path, their own story.
Grau's done a nice job tonight filling in for Matisse Lefebvre in that right center back position for Pitt. Lefebvre out with an injury tonight. Grau was the starting center back at the start of the year, but hadn't played in some time. Last time he played was September 25th against Denver. Only played 15 minutes in that match. Jay Vidovich said he was working on finding his form again through the midpoint of the September month. Now he gets an opportunity. He's done pretty well with it.
Yeah, and we talk about the depth of these squads, and obviously it's important. You need everyone. You don't know what injuries and adversity you're going to face. And while the season goes by in a flash, it is a marathon. You know, you can't sprint your way through it. You're going to take your lumps along the way. And it's a journey. Every season's a journey, you know. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Carter picks it up. Quick restart. Free kick coming for Pitt.
Reading about the history of this Duquesne soccer program, their first coach was Dave Casper. He did a couple years before moving on to become the general manager of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and from there he went on to become the general manager of DC United. He's the man responsible for signing Wayne Rooney for DC United. He's now the president of soccer operations and the sporting director. So some real prestige in the ranks of Duquesne coaching alumni. Wade Jean, probably the most successful coach in Duquesne history. He's got 3 A10 regular season titles to his name. He had the reins from '98 to 2005. Chase Brooks now in his 11th season's really been able to return the program to prominence in the A10. Get him ranked for the first time since 2005, as we mentioned.
Beautiful back touch from Sullivan there. Panthers on a run. Good work with Feitosa. Now loose in the box, there's Nagy. Talking about the coaching history there, David. Chase Brooks has 3 of the 5 postseason wins in school history, all within the last couple of years. So talk about some of the prestige before him, and he's been able to put his stamp on the program, and mostly in the last 2 seasons, both of which were seasons where they had double-digit wins.
Yeah, they've really worked hard. He talks about the fact that they work to stay humble, but it's important for them to show up. They have very, very high standards, and, you know, they've recruited a solid group with high character. They've been able to implement their process for success.
Looking in the box for Sullivan, it's batted out. And the last time you and I saw Duquesne was in the spring of 2021, in what was obviously a very strange year for everybody. And he talked to us back then about changing the way that they recruit and recruiting more for character. Of course, skill and talent is part of it, but starting to recruit more about the character and who's going to fit the mold of what they want to do and who's going to value what they like. Gave a lot of credit to his assistant coach, Adam Mitchell, for kind of revamping their recruiting process and being able to now jump onto the scene, bring talent in. They love the culture that they have, and now they're attracting transfers from top programs as well. So the Dukes have arrived on the scene, not just in the A-10, but nationally as an option for places for players to go.
Yeah, not only have they brought in character and culture guys, but character and culture guys that can compete on this level. Here you see him going toe-to-toe with the Pitt Panthers.
DeFalco sent it back into the box, and it hit Michael Sullivan, who's down. Zahir Dyke will head off for Pitt. Multitude of substitutions for Chase Brooks and the Dukes here. So it will be a corner coming now for the Dukes. We are in the midnight hour of this game. DeFalco.
Duquesne was really crowding the 6-yard box there. Looks like they had about 7 or 8 red shirts in the 6-yard box. Again, a little bit of handbags, and the referee's got some talking to do.
Pierre-May Feitosa has a lot of words to say.
Well, ref's going to look at something.
So I think Feitosa got into the ref's ear. Might be about something that Jaden Daw did, because Feitosa was running past Daw right there and said something.
Well, I feel like it wouldn't be a college soccer game if we didn't go look at something.
Now, the angles they have for review are high above the net. So it would have to be pretty obvious for something to get called here, but we'll see. We've seen crazier things happen, that's for sure. Earlier this year, we saw Filip Mirkovic get sent off after he got basically shoved in the face. And that was after review, so who knows at this point?
Yeah, that was a 1-1 draw with Penn State. There was a melee in the goal after a goal was scored. Pushing and shoving ensued, and a red card for Mirkovic, and he was suspended for a game, and that's the only game he's missed so far this season.
Here we go. Looks like there's not going to be anything.
Nothing there. It looks like we'll have a goal kick, maybe. Nothing there. Safe.
Safe at first. Who's on second? Just over 7 minutes to go at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Been hotly contested throughout.
Yeah, it's been tight and cagey for sure. Pitt's really had to work hard for their 1-goal lead. Yes, they've possessed the ball for most of the game, but Duquesne has been really resolute with their game plan, defending, as we mentioned, from the back to the front, not giving Pitt time and space in the middle of the park.
The goal coming in the 66th minute off the head of Guilherme Feitosa, his second of the year. Filip Mirkovic with his 28th career assist and 9th of the year.
We'll see if there's any more goals to be had in this one.
Feitosa wants one. He fires one directly into the arms of Zoltan Nagy.
We'll see if Pitt is able to close this out. Cabral Carter has 4 shutouts already on the season. He'd love to add a 5th tonight.
You got to think Jay Vidovic, after having the taste of a 2-1 loss to Virginia in his mouth from Friday, would love to seal this with a goal.
Yeah, talking to Coach Vidovic today, he was definitely not over the loss to Virginia yet. He was salty, to say the least, in regards to that game and some of the lessons that they'd been forced to learn within it.
Duquesne was offside there. And you've said it a few times tonight, you know, this is the part of the year where things start to get tense, and I think we could feel some of that from Jay Vidovic today. The urgency is starting to grow, and realizing, you know, every point's important in the ACC, of course, and I think that, you know, number 11 Pitt at the time, I don't know if they expected to go get a result down at Virginia, but they have had their fair share of wins in recent seasons against the Cavaliers, so it would have, you know, held true with recent history if they went down there and got a W. But when you drop points on the road like that and not even get one, with 2 tough opportunities left against ranked opponents, Duke and Notre Dame, who's been on a roll, you have to go to South Bend for that last game of the year to try and fight for seeding in the conference. It doesn't feel good when you drop points like that.
Yeah, I think there's a few things there too. I mean, with the success that Pitt's had the last few years, no one's going to feel sorry for them at this point in time. They've definitely got a target on their back. They were picked to win the Coastal Division coming into this season and have had a few struggles. Teams have really looked to get one over on them. I think there was a time when, you know, it would have been a shock for Pitt to win at Virginia, but now Pitt's expected to win at Virginia. And so when you're expecting to win every single game, yeah, losses don't sit well with you. I think Pitt played really well for periods of that game. They went up, they were winning, and so I think that they were disappointed in the way that it got away from them.
Chase Brooks, some last-minute tinkering here with his lineup, trying to find himself a goal. Tom Sabari coming back on, DeFalco heading off.
Still time for Duquesne to get an equalizer in this, and who knows? You know, who knows from there? But they're going to keep working at it, see if they can get past that blue mountain of Cabral Carter back there.
One of these teams will be dancing in the streets tonight.
Well, not if it's a draw, they won't.
That's true.
Although Duquesne would probably be the happier of the 2 teams with a draw. Certainly not going to do anything for the Panthers. As we said, almost must-win game for Pitt tonight. Duquesne's been really resolute. They haven't made it easy on them, and still chance for the sweet taste of an equalizer. But it's been a tough matchup, as expected. A Pittsburgh-type matchup.
Grind it out.
Physical, cagey.
Cagey's the word of the night, huh?
Yeah.
If only that was in a song title. Duquesne wasn't happy about that call. Sideline erupted after that.
Well, it's fine margins, you know. We see that week in, week out, fine margins. Pressurized situations.
Their bench is getting into this. Obviously, with just a couple minutes remaining here, they're going to give it to Bennett for a long throw-in.
Everything to play for, and, you know, that would certainly help Duquesne's season resume to be able to get a result here against the Panthers.
Hard contest from Bennett off the touchline. Now here comes Pitt. Space in front of Samkow. What does he do with it? Tries to leave it forward. That was Kazumara. Now Sullivan with some room. To Silly. He's going to take a shot and score! That'll seal the deal for the Panthers. Raphael Silly slams the door on Duquesne, and he'll send them down the road feeling bad.
Great finish. Struck it well. Smashed it into the back of the net to cement the win for Pitt.
Silly with his second goal of the year.
It hasn't been easy for the Panthers tonight, but they've kept working. Duquesne has frustrated them for much of the evening, but they've found a way to break down their strong defensive lines.
Man, Pitt has a knack for scoring goals late. Last time they were on this field, the Virginia Tech game, they scored 3 in about 10 minutes. This one all but seals it against Duquesne in the City game. And the Dukes will have to wait another year for another crack at the Panthers to try and get their first win in this rivalry. Pitt will move to 11-0-2 against Duquesne all time and 8-0-1 at home.
Credit to the Dukes, though. They've been a really tough opponent. I think the Pitt has really had to persevere and dig deep to be able to grind out this win.
And if you think about it, Duquesne earlier this year, second game of the year, they beat Virginia Tech 5-1, took it to an ACC team. Now we know the Hokies have had a good year since then, kind of used it as a launch pad for their season, but it just proves that Duquesne can hang with ACC teams, and they've done a nice job tonight in muddying this thing up. Had a couple decent looks at net, but just couldn't convert anything.
Yeah, they've represented themselves really well in this City game. They can go back to the bluff with their heads held high. Strong performance by the Dukes, but not quite enough to overcome their City rivals. Michael Sullivan with his first assist of the season to set up the Silly goal. Silly, 2 strikes in his last 3 games now, so he's been getting hot at the right time. Jumping up into the play along that right-hand side, providing the extra man to jump into the attack.
That was a similar goal that we saw to the Virginia Tech goal as well. Just with space on the right side, put some heat on the ball and get it past the keeper.
Yeah, and it shows you the importance of your fullbacks jumping up into the play. For Silly, that's a couple really big goals for this Panther team now. And for someone that's new on the team this year, it's really important to be able to gain those experiences at this level. And that's only going to help him going into the ACC tournament.
It further illustrates the narrative with this Pitt team this year, too. I mean, Noah Hall kind of taking the starting role away from Silly after he gets a 2-game suspension from the red card against Syracuse. Silly loses his spot. Then Noah Hall gets hurt. Silly comes in that game. He scores a goal, a big goal against Tech, and now he's got 2 in his last 3, and it's going to be seemingly his role for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think that's, part of the catch-22 is you can't build experience without having those moments where you're tested, where at times you make mistakes. Obviously, finding that consistency, and so that's something that these guys are trying to do every single time out.
Fabian Grau heads off here.
Duquesne stacking the 6-yard box for the long throw.
He gets to run back in. Stack box, as you said. Just about a minute to go here. And they're going to call a foul on Duquesne, yeah?
Yeah, Sullivan was fouled on the way out. A little bit chippy at the end there. You can see Samkow having a few words and a few things to be said. Obviously, to the victor go the spoils, and Pitt will be more than happy to take this. They will be dancing in the streets tonight, as you mentioned.
Pitt so good in the last handful of years after they lose a match. They fight through this one after not having a number of starters, as we mentioned. Albert Thorson out tonight. Matisse Lefebvre has started almost every game in the center back position. Now Silly wants a second of the game. Can he get it? No, it's deflected by Nagy.
Oh, he almost had it. Really nice service provided by Sullivan to set him up. Silly was able to cut inside, but couldn't quite get the shot off.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So Pitt takes the city game. They improve to 6-4-3. Duquesne drops to 6-6-2 on the year. Hard-fought game, very Pittsburgh-esque, David.
And the race is on to postseason